Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack, as always, and delighted you've been able to tune in with us yet again for another show. Now, before we do get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and give us an old share on social media if you can. Now, if you like listening to us on a podcast player, there's a link down below in the description, which will take you to a website where a vast array of podcast players can be found. And finally, if you want to support the show, if you like the show, couple of ways you can do it. The first way is just to become a channel member, and you can do so through YouTube, or alternatively, you can also buy us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. Link also down below in the description. And finally, if you want to follow us on TikTok or Instagram, links are also down below there. On TikTok, we're doing short versions of these videos, so you'll get them for a minute 30, and you can subscribe and follow us there as well. It's proven to be quite popular and a great way to get your news in the evening time. So now that's all done and dusted, let's jump into the top stories doing the rounds here in Thailand today. Tourist Police Chief conducts license checks at Phuket vehicle rentals. Phuket's tourist vehicle rental businesses received a visit from the National Tourist Police Commander, Lieutenant General Saksira, on Saturday, April 20th, to reinforce the importance of checking tourist driving licenses. This initiative aims to regulate the burgeoning vehicle rental industry in Patong. Now, accompanied by senior officials from the Tourist Police Region 3, Lieutenant General Saksira toured Patong at 11 a.m. following the recent visit of the Prime Minister and the Royal Thai Police Acting Commissioner to Phuket. The Phuket Tourist Police released a statement indicating that the inspection involved engaging with vehicle rental shops to foster good relations and distribute stickers containing information on rental regulations and laws applicable to foreigners, of course. During the visit, rental operators were reminded of the legal obligations for ensuring tourist safety. Photos from the inspection depict rental shop operators affixing tourist police stickers to their premises under the supervision of the Lieutenant General and his team. These stickers provided clear guidelines on driving licenses requirements here in Thailand. Firstly, penalties for allowing an unlicensed person to drive a vehicle or driving without a valid license, and recognized driving licenses in Thailand, including those from ASEAN countries, and the International Driving Permit under the Geneva and Vienna Conventions. It was emphasized that holding foreign driving licenses without an accompanying IDP does not constitute a valid license here in Thailand. The IDP must be presented alongside the original foreign license to be considered valid in Thailand. Now, that's actually quite good to see that they're going about, but until there's real regulation, I don't think anything's ever going to change with these rental companies. Just to clarify as well, to ride a motorbike in Thailand, you actually need a motorbike license from your home country, along with a motorbike license that's a IDP. So it's your car license and an IDP are not enough to rent a motorbike here in Thailand. Now, they will rent you a motorbike because there's absolutely no rules or regulations surrounding it. But the bottom line is, if something happens, your travel insurance would be invalidated. So make sure you have the correct licenses when you come to Thailand so that you can enjoy yourself and, have that peace of mind. Now, in relation to a lot of these motorbike rentals, people just open them up. And I'd really love to see a more regulation in terms of how these businesses are conducted. I think any shop that would be renting motorcycles to tourists or the public should be a proper registered business. I think there should be a body that oversees these groups and these businesses to make sure that they have proper insurance on their vehicles that cover third party and also include some form of insurance if something does happen that'll pay out when you go to hospital or if you have to, or if somebody you hit will also be taken care of. So these things I think are very important, and I know also might help the government to actually bring more people in under the tax net, because as we know here in Thailand, there's very few people actually paying tax and they seem to get away with it very, very easily at the moment. But we will move along to the very, very next story. And scammers exploit a Chinese student with threats and deception in Thailand. A 22-year-old Chinese student who was studying in Australia was targeted by a scammer gang, leading to a distressing ordeal in Thailand. The scammers coerced her into transferring funds and travelling to Thailand under false pretenses, demanding a ransom from her parents. The investigation revealed that the student arrived in Thailand on April 13th and was coerced to move between different locations, possibly under threat. Scammers used threats of violence and coercion, including threats of organ trafficking and explicit videos, to manipulate both the student and her family into complying with their demands. Now, these scammers employed sophisticated tactics, assuming false identities and leveraging technology to deceive and intimidate the student. They exploited her fear and a lack of information, forcing her into financial transactions and agreements under duress. Authorities intervened after the students' movements were tracked across various locations here in Thailand. The Crime Victims Assistance Association facilitated cooperation with law enforcement to address the situation and gather evidence against the scammers. This case underscores the risk faced by individuals, particularly students from affluent families studying abroad, who are vulnerable to such scams. The complex nature of these crimes, often spanning multiple countries and involving sophisticated tactics, poses challenges for law enforcement in gathering evidence and pursuing perpetrators. Authorities continue to investigate and urge caution among students and families to remain vigilant against similar threats and scams. So I have to say, well done to the Thai police force here and for intervening and helping this woman. It obviously was a very distressing time for her, and it's good to see that, the police were on top of it here. And, we always we complain about the Thai police here, maybe for not doing their job and certain things. But, when you see stories like this, you understand as well how they do their job. And when there are serious issues happening and serious things going on that are involving a young woman and her family and being coerced and the things that went on, that they're there to step in and actually really help the woman. So that's something very positive, and it should be applauded, in relation to the Thai police force. Now, moving along, as you might think, there's been a surge in tourist arrivals recently, and that's been put down to visa waivers and the grand Songkran celebration. Thailand welcomed 1.5 million foreign tourists between the 1st and 16th of April, generating a revenue of 70 billion baht. The most recent figures from the Tourism and Sports Ministry show. The ministry said on Monday that the number of foreign arrivals had risen by 41% and revenue by 48% compared to the same period last year. It said that the tourists spent an average of 46,968 baht per person per trip. That was an increase of about 5% from last year. The ministry put the surge in arrivals down to visa exemption, a suspension of the filing of TM6 arrival forms, and the grand Songkran events nationwide. Now, as per the ministry's statistics, the top 10 nationalities to visit Thailand from April 1st to 16th were, we'll actually do the top 5 or 6. Chinese, of course, as you might think, they were number 1. With just over 306,000 people. Malaysians came in second, 239,000 approximately. Indian were third at about 84,000, followed by Russians at 82,500. And then in fifth place were the Koreans with 66,000 people. And kind of notable on the list, we had British people. They were in sixth place with 49,000. And on 10th was Americans, just nearly at 44,000 people. So obviously a very successful Songkran period, a Songkran month. I don't know if the TM6 or the lack thereof was encouraging people to come to Thailand. I hardly think so. But I would definitely say the visa exemptions for the Chinese and the Indian certainly is something that has pushed tourism upwards. And also, of course, Songkran. Now, comparing it to the figures last year, I think is, probably not the best thing to be doing. As we all know, Thailand was still coming out of the pandemic last year and things hadn't got up to scratch. But it is good to see. It is very good to see that the tourism industry seems to be back here in Thailand. And, by the way Phuket is and other tourist spots around the country, it is very busy, very full with a lot of people here. So that obviously is something that is very positive for Thailand and moving forward. But then that leads me into the next story, which is an interesting one because everybody has been talking about how great it is to have so much tourism. A group have kind of complained about it too, but they have their own idea how they can, profit from this. So the Thai tourism operators have proposed solutions to address over-tourism. That's right. Now they're complaining that there's too much tourism. Amid growing concerns about over-tourism, Thai tourism operators are urging the government to address the nation's tourism carrying capacity. One proposal being considered is the introduction of a 300 baht tourism tax to help manage the issue. It's back again, guys, to 300 baht, huh? Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin's commitment to boosting tourism in 2025 has prompted the Federation of Thai Tourism Associations to develop a white paper with solutions to prevent over-tourism, which was prevalent before the pandemic. Now, the Federation highlights that popular destinations like Phuket, Samui and Pattaya are already experiencing issues such as traffic congestion, water shortages and airport capacity challenges during peak season. Now, to alleviate pressure on major tourism hubs, tourism leaders advocate for promoting secondary cities with untapped potential. They suggest providing incentives to airlines that operate direct flights to provincial airports like Utapao, Khon Kaen and Krabi. Surawat Akanwanmat, Vice President of the Tourism Council of Thailand, supports the idea of implementing the 300 baht tourism fee to fund infrastructure development in less congested provinces. He emphasises that the fee would not deter foreign tourists, citing higher fees in other countries like Bhutan. Proposals include collecting the fee through mobile apps or kiosks, similar to practices in many countries that incorporate tourism taxes into flight tickets or hotel stays. This initiative aims to bolster funding for tourism development and address the challenges posed by over-tourism in Thailand's popular destinations. So it seems like they're trying to push this tourism tax that I think it was the prior government, wasn't the previous junta government, spoke about all during COVID. Then when they were coming out of COVID, they're still talking about it. And then it was deferred, cancelled, deferred. We're going to have to think about it. And then basically they said, well, actually, it's going to be now for the next government to decide. It seemed like they were having problems figuring out how to collect it, which I thought was a bit odd too. But nevertheless, now we have some tourism associations butting in and probably seeing, oh, look at all these 39 million tourists coming this year. If we were getting 300 baht from every one of them, look at the pot of gold we'd have. I do think it's a little bit greedy at this stage. I think Thailand is doing very well out of tourism, and any opportunity to start making a bit more and to start charging tourists more when they're spending a lot when they get here in terms of hotel room prices, the flights to get to Thailand, things like this, are things that put a lot of effort for tourists to come to Thailand, because we all know the prices of flights at the moment are still very high and there's no sign of them dipping. And I think, I know it's 300 baht, but then when you start factoring into a family, maybe then it's a little bit more expensive and whatnot. And I just think this sounds like a little bit of greed. I'd love to know what you think about it. Do you think they should bring this 300 baht tourism fee or tax back in, start it up like they've spoken about? Or do you think this is all talk? Do you think it's greedy? I'd love to know your opinion, guys, as always, because I value your opinion here on the Thai Expat Daily Show. Now we've got two more stories and another one. Thailand to block unauthorized crypto platforms. Now this is an interesting one that I didn't find actually in the Thai media. It seems to have gone under the radar, but it's definitely in some international publications. So in an effort to enhance law enforcement efficiency and combat online crime, Thailand's authorities have decided to block access to unauthorized crypto platforms. Following a meeting of the Technology Crime Prevention and Suppression Committee, Thailand's Security and Exchange Commission, that's the SEC, was directed to provide details on unauthorized digital asset service providers to the Ministry of Digital Economy for access blocking. Now, the SEC will allow users time to manage their accounts and withdraw assets from those platforms before access is restricted. This move aligns with similar actions taken by countries like India and the Philippines to block unauthorized crypto platforms. Thailand's regulators are striving to strike a balance between while supporting the crypto ecosystem and preventing fraud. While allowing institutional investors and high net worth individuals to invest in crypto ETFs and permitting retail investors to invest in digital tokens, they emphasize the importance of custodians having contingency plans in place to address potential risk. I think we all know in this day and age, it's very hard to block access to people, from on things on the internet because of this crazy thing called a VPN. And once you have one of them, you can pretty much bypass anything. So will this really work? I very much doubt it. I understand the need to try balance between wanting people to invest, but also to kind of deter people from or not see people being, scammed and defrauded. So best of luck to them, but I just can't see it working. And finally, big joke is back. Our deputy assistant, police chief, embattled deputy police chief claims the Prime Minister has abused his authority. So Police General Surachat Hakparn, better known as Big Joke, the suspended Deputy National Police Chief, has petitioned the National Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin's alleged abuse of authority. Surachat's petition targets several issues, including the appointment of Police General Torsak Sukvimal as the National Police Chief, his own suspension from the police service, and the motives behind the investigation into BNK Master online gambling platform, which resulted in money laundering charges against him and his aides. Big Joke questions the authority of the police investigation team, alleging a failure to submit findings to the NACC within the legally required 30 days after receiving a complaint against him. Both Surichat and Torsak were transferred to the Prime Minister's office pending the outcome of the gambling network investigation. Last week, Big Joke was temporarily suspended from police service pending disciplinary proceedings. Now, Suritat has appealed for justice to the Police Service Commission for Merit System Protection, seeking withdrawal of the suspension order and expressing confidence in being reinstated. He believes there is a deliberate effort to obstruct his potential promotion to the National Police Chief position. And as we conclude today's episode, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. This show isn't just about delivering news, it's about fostering a conversation. Your insights and perspectives matter. So keep the dialogue alive, like the video, subscribe to our channel and share it with others. Your support means the world to us. I'm Kieran Mack and you've been tuning in to the Thai Expat Daily Show. Until next time, take care and stay engaged.